You want to spend your time doing something meaningful, something you enjoy, something you were born to do. Maybe. Let's talk about purpose. There's a great and famous saying that goes something like that. Do what you love and you will never work another day in your life. I wasn't actually reading, it's just my iPad and it's off. Generally speaking, the discussion around finding one's passion, one's purpose is very strong in the past couple of years, and I love it. I truly believe that moving the discussion from just success to the combination of success and happiness is the greatest thing that ever happened to us as humans. Personally, I've been working for myself for almost 10 years now, and I wouldn't give up any of the experiences, and I surely had some very difficult and some extremely painful ones. Dr. Brené Brown has an amazing TED video. In that video, she actually explains the idea that's very counterproductive for most people. The idea is that a person cannot numb only part of his feeling. Meaning, we're not truly choosing if we want to experience high levels of happiness and joy or high levels of depression and sadness. We can either choose to have a life that's full of emotion, in which our happiness and joy will be very powerful, but then we'll also have the sadness in a very powerful way, or to choose to live a life with very little emotions, in which all of our emotions are numb. Of course, we can create, by the power of our lives' decisions, a life in which we have more joy and more happiness and less pain. But if we choose to live a very emotional life, we'll have both. A life in which you pursue your passion, a life in which you live in your purpose, and you do something that is extremely meaningful for you, is a life full of emotion, full of happiness, full of joy. But also, the biggest mistake people are making regarding their passion or regarding their purpose is actually looking for it, assuming they have one. It's very much like believing you have one soulmate. There is one person in this world that you were meant to be together, and keep searching for this one person. And the truth is that just like there are many people with which you can be very happy and fulfilled, who can make you feel extremely loved and you can love them, there are many passions and many purposes you can feel, many passions you can have that will actually make you a happier and more productive person. The truth is that just like there are many people with which you can be happy and fulfilled, that you can love and be loved by, there are plenty of passions you can pursue. There are many of purposes you can feel. So you should probably think about it less in terms of a searching process and more in terms of a choosing process. You have so many options. Which one you should choose? If you are a 20-year-old and truthfully, you don't really understand how the world works yet, and you don't really have the experiences to see the abundance of options before you, you should probably explore, you should probably try new things, you should probably get the experiences, the abundance of experiences that will help you choose later. And you should always remember that whatever decision, whatever choice you take or you make, you can always change it. So especially before you're taking big commitments about your future and about your path or about your career, you should probably have the experience. You should probably try it. I almost always recommend to people that if they want to go to med school to learn to be a doctor, first they should probably volunteer in a hospital or work in a hospital to feel the environment, to see how this job looks outside of the TV screen. You should probably volunteer or work at a lawyer's office before you're going to law school. Unless you are 100% sure, and in this case, simply go for it. I myself learned computer programming and actually went to the first year of software engineering in university before I realized I don't want to do this for the rest of my life. And back then, then I was afraid that I wasted my time. But already now that I'm still actually very young, I can totally see how this knowledge and these thought processes, which I adopted learning computer programming, actually helps me with my business today. And I'm sure it will continue to serve me in the years to come. So you should probably never think about creating new experiences as wasted time. Don't be afraid to move ahead, to choose, to decide, to try new things. You can always change it later, you can correct it quickly. You simply need to be committed to not do stuff you hate. So there are two things you can actually do right now if you're not sure what your passion or your purpose is. So number one is releasing the pressure. It's not so dramatic, it's not a life decision. There are many good options and you can always change it and adopt it later. Actually, through the course of your life, you probably will change your decision no matter what decision you make. Simply make a commitment today that when you go off track, you'll correct yourself. I know it's not so simple, and when you have big commitments on you and big responsibilities, you can't always just leave like a 20-year-old will drop off of college. But if you'll take the time and do it responsibly, you can always change the course of your future. Number two is gather more and new experiences. Don't stay stuck in one place. If you're a 20-year-old and you don't have a lot of experience yet, don't work for the same place for too long. Change places, change jobs, change titles, change ideas, so that in 2 years you'll have a broad enough knowledge of what exists, so you will be able to navigate and find your own place. Of course, if you find your place faster, if you simply click on the first thing you do, you should stick. You can stick if you want, but only if you believe that this is what you want to do in the long term. I am a huge believer in doing the same thing for a long time, because this is the only way to gain mastery. But before you choose to master something, you should probably try out a few things so you make the decision on what to master a more educated one. There are two major things you should probably find out about yourself in the time you're creating new experiences. The first is your likes and dislikes, and the second is your strengths and weaknesses. When you find something that's both a strength and a like, that's your passion. And if it's also something that others are deeply connected to, deeply care about, it can be a purpose. Now, whether you just did those two things or you plan to do them in the future, if you know right now what your purpose, what your passion is, all you have to do is keep your mind open for new ideas, is to revisit this vision and revisit this purpose over and over again throughout your life to make sure you always live with passion. Remember, most of us were not born to do one or two things for the course of our entire lives. It's okay, it's natural, it's a positive and good thing that it evolves and changes. If you feel like you already have a lot of experiences and you already feel like you understand and know the world, but it's still hard for you to make it clear for yourself what's your vision, what's your purpose, I actually created a video in which I lead you throughout an exercise with a special PDF that you can do yourself to find and make your passion and your purpose clear for you. The video is free and it's listed and linked in the description. Now, this exercise will take some time to complete. So if you have the time right now, it's perfect. It will take you like 10 to 15 minutes. But if you don't have the time, be sure to download the exercise right now to get the video and put a reminder on your phone to be sure that you're actually going to do it. You know, there's a saying that says that knowledge is power, which is true, but execution is the real power. Make sure that if you want to do this exercise, you do whatever it takes to make sure you actually do it. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. I'll really appreciate it. Thank you very much. And be sure to check out one of these videos.